Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is indeed a phenomenal privilege to be here, and I have a hard act to follow with Anthony's work. I'm going to talk to you about something quite specific, and that is using our formulas to treat a specific medical condition. And I want to demonstrate just how exciting it is to work with BioWell alongside the patients that we are treating. But I really love this picture. I took this picture when I was last here, and I think you understand that blue is an energy that I love. It's a very, very powerful energy. And when you look at the sky here, you see this Russian blue, which is famous all over the world for artists, and you can see why it's called Russian blue. It's such a beautiful color.
Для меня большая честь присутствовать сегодня и презентоваться перед вами. И я бы хотела рассказать сегодня о тех формулах, которые мы представляем, а также о роли BioWell в наших исследованиях, в наших лечениях. И эту фотографию, которую вы видели, это моя фотография Эрмитажа, мой любимый цвет, энергия синего, голубого.
So this afternoon I'm going to talk to you about some of the negative effects of vaccination, which is quite a contentious subject, I know. But we're going to be talking about tetanus vaccine and a specific condition called endometriosis.
Я бы хотела рассказать сегодня о последствиях, негативных последствиях вакцинации сегодня, и особенно о вакцинации от столбняка.
As I've already said, it's a great privilege for us to be here with our dear friend Constantine. But also I'd like to say how lovely it is to see so many of you again, and to share our knowledge with you is a great, wonderful opportunity. But also for us to be able to listen to all of your wonderful lectures and understand what you're doing is very, very important indeed.
И снова для меня большая честь сегодня быть вместе с вами, с Константином, нашим большим уважаемым другом, и снова видеть вас для меня большая радость, и слушать ваши лекции, а также рассказать вам о том, что мы знаем.
And just very briefly, we have a very large organization called the Institute of Phytobiophysics, which is dedicated to training doctors, specialists, practitioners, and natural medical practitioners all over the world.
Очень коротко о себе. У нас институт фитобиофизики, в котором работает большое количество медиков.
But I also work as a clinician in the clinic with patients, and one of the many, many complications of tetanus vaccine is this condition called simian virus 5, endometriosis.
И я также работаю в клинике, у меня большое количество пациентов, и я наблюдаю негативные последствия от вакцинации от столбняка, и она связана с вирусом обезьян, и который вызывает эндометриоз.
And what we've actually found is that the BioWell camera creates a diagnostic method to evaluate the complex symptoms of this condition, whilst also validating the diagnosis and effectiveness of the formulas.
BioWell помогает, и камера BioWell ГРВ помогает не только в диагнозе, в постановке диагноза, но и предоставлении достоверных данных о течении заболевания в целом.
The tetanus vaccine originated in 1930 with the use of equine cultures.
Вакцина от столбняка появилась в 30-е годы с использованием культур конных.
And it was catastrophic because many, many people died post-vaccination.
И это была просто катастрофа, поскольку многие после вакцинации погибали.
So after this, instead of using equine cultures, they used simian cultures, as with polio.
И после, так же как и с полиомиелитом, стали использовать не конные культуры, а обезьян.
At least 40 simian viruses have been isolated, associated with these cultures.
Но было найдено около 40 вирусов, связанных с этими культурами.
Several of which are known to be cancer-forming, and I'm quite certain that most of you will have heard of simian virus 40.
И некоторые из вас, я думаю, слышали о вирусе S40, который также связан с формированием рака.
And it has been said that Syrian virus 40 is now screened out of many of the vaccines, but we're finding evidence to support the fact that it's still there.
Вирус CV40 сейчас исключается из многих вакцин, однако мы до сих пор получаем данные о его наличии.
Unfortunately, tetanus is not given as a single vaccine, it's given in combination.
К сожалению, вакцина от столбняка не используется в одиночку, а используется в комбинации.
The original combination, diphtherinum and pertussis, the DTaP or the Tdap.
И типичная комбинация известная это DTaP и TDTaP.
But it's now added to 3 other vaccinations, which are pneumococcus, meningitis, Haemophilus influenza B, and meningitis C.
Также известные комбинации против менингита и других заболеваний.
And our research is showing that this combination of different strains of vaccination administered at the same time create very serious health problems.
И, к сожалению, вакцинация от такого большого количества заболеваний в один момент приводит к серьезным последствиям.
As you know, tetanus is also referred to as lockjaw.
Столбняк также называют сжатая челюсть.
And it's an infection which is also called Clostridium tetani.
Инфекция, которая вызвана Clostridium tetani.
This is a condition which produces a toxin that affects the brain and the nervous system, leading to stiffness in the nerve and muscles, specifically damaging cranial nerve 10, which is called the vagus nerve.
Инфекция оказывает влияние на мозг и на нервную систему и приводит к твердости и жесткому ожесточению мышц и нервов.
Oh, thank you very much. I was flicking all over the place. Sorry, thank you. The symptoms of tetanus infection are numerous: lockjaw, tooth decay, particularly in the left jaw, severe muscle spasm and resultant structural disorders of TMJ misalignment, and of course pain associated with that.
Существует большое количество симптомов столбняка. Это в первую очередь сжатая челюсть, спазмы мышц, связанные с болью, сопровождаемой сильной болью.
Breathing difficulties, cancer, leukemia, precancer, cysts, tumors.
Проблемы с зубами, проблемы с дыханием, а также рак, лейкемия, киста и опухоль.
Warts, verruca, endometriosis, benign fibroids, piles, hemorrhoids, it's a long list, colitis.
Большое количество заболеваний и связанных заболеваний кожи, в том числе хромоидальный колит.
Of course, eyesight disorders and particularly cataract.
А также проблемы с глазами, особенно катаракта.
This is the main formula that Anthony was talking to you about, that we use to support patients suffering with this condition.
И формула, о которой Энтони говорил до меня, это та формула, которую мы используем для пациентов, которые страдают от такого заболевания.
I think one of the most concerning aspects of tetanus, which was one of the reasons why it's so very, very dangerous, is that it affects the bone marrow, the hemocytoblasts, which are the stem cells formed in the bone marrow.
Самое страшное с столбняком то, что он влияет на костный мозг, то есть на то, где создаются стволовые клетки.
And these stem cells are very, very important indeed. They're capable of creating the blood cells through activation of erythroblasts, megakaryocytes, monoblasts, myeloblasts, and of course the progenitor lymph cells.
Стволовые клетки очень важны, поскольку они являются клетками, способными создать кровяные клетки.
And one of the reasons why I've chosen to talk to you about endometriosis is that it's a horrifyingly common condition in Europe and in the West, becoming more so.
И почему я хочу поговорить именно об эндометриозе, потому что это очень серьезное заболевание, страшное.
The left-sided pathway of simian virus 5 damages progenitor lymphatic cells.
Это заболевание, оно поражает клетки.
And the monoblasts, which control the macrophage system, in particular the thymus reticular endothelial system,
Влияет на систему тимуса
the microglia of the spinal cord,
и позвоночника,
the osteoclasts of the bones,
а также на костные ткани.
and gonadotrophin, of course, the gonads.
И на гонады гонотропин.
So this is the pathway of damage of the tetanus on its own through monoblasts and progenitor lymphatic cells.
Здесь вы видите разрушающий эффект столбняка от самого начала и далее.
Highlighted in red.
Красным цветом выделенное.
And this, unfortunately, our research has shown that tetanus doesn't just cause endometriosis simian virus 5, but in combination with other vaccinations, it interferes with conditions such as simian virus 2, which is the equine virus, which is very serious indeed, and that affects the bone marrow, leading to leukemia.
К сожалению, мы обнаружили, что столбняк вызывает не только вирус СВ5 и эндометриоз, но также и вирус СВ2, лошадиный вирус, который в дальнейшем может привести к лейкемии.
This research is very complex indeed. We have papers about it. We can't cover it all in such a short space of time.
К сожалению, в столь короткое время я не смогу рассказать обо всем. Наше исследование очень многоплановое.
These pathways follow different lines through the hemocytoblast pathway, through the erythroblasts, particularly the megakaryoblast, that's leukemia. The myeloblast linked with some of the other very serious conditions such as cancer.
Вы видите путь, который выделен красным, и на этом слайде можно посмотреть то, как в результате изменений приводит пациента к различным заболеваниям.
So just now I'm going to just carry on talking to you about endometriosis, which is also known as polycystic ovaries.
Я расскажу о эндометриозе, который также называют поликистоз яичников.
So it's distressingly common. At least 1 in 5 of our young children and the young women now in Europe are suffering with this condition.
К сожалению, это очень распространенное заболевание, и сейчас в Европе каждая 5-я молодая женщина страдает от него.
Because endometriosis is triggered by menstruation, it's a condition which sets off at about puberty.
Поскольку эндометриоз связан с менструальным циклом, то он чаще всего возникает во время пубертатного периода.
But since the tetanus vaccine is administered to little babies at 2 months, 3 months and 4 months, it's obvious that a lot of these symptoms are already lying dormant in the system.
Но поскольку вакцина применяется к детям, которым 2-3 месяца, то симптомы наблюдаются и у них тоже.
There is a seriously consistent pattern to these symptoms, which I'm going to show you in a minute.
И мы видим большую связь симптомов, которые мы сейчас с вами рассмотрим.
Ranging from obviously very, very heavy periods and excruciating period problems, leading to anemia.
Связанные как с менструальным циклом, проблемы, которые ведут к анемии,
skin complications, acne, hirsutism.
Осложнения кожные.
And one of the obvious symptoms is weight gain, and we're seeing a huge problem with weight in young children today.
Один из симптомов также это увеличение массы тела, и мы сейчас наблюдаем, что у многих увеличивается вес.
Heavy periods. The reason why endometriosis is so damaging is that the endometrium breaks down both internally and externally into the tissue body spaces.
Эндометриоз очень опасен, поскольку он развивается как внутри, так и вне тканей.
And of course, this causes the classic syndrome of the chocolate-colored endometrial cysts.
И он вызывает в результате кисту.
And they've got nowhere to go. They can't get out of the body through the normal menstrual flow, so they build up in the tissue lymphatic spaces.
Поскольку элементы не могут выйти вместе с менструальным циклом во время его, то они остаются внутри тканей, в лимфе.
And during menstruation, these tissues, these floating tissues, actually act like the endometrium, and they bleed, causing incredible pain.
И в результате разрывов они кровоточат и приводят к большим болям.
One of the most common causes of infertility, but this is very interesting because, of course, the patient is not infertile. They are actually not able to fix or hold the little egg that's been fertilized.
И это причина бесплодия для многих, но также и невозможности выносить ребенка.
So, in fact, they may have conceived, but nothing will happen because they lose the egg.
То есть в результате ребенок может быть зачат, но не выношен.
Or they may have a miscarriage at 3 months.
Выкидыш может произойти 3 месяца.
Or very premature babies. This is a phenomenon that's happening a lot now.
Это феномен, который мы наблюдаем часто сегодня.
It's a very common condition, and it's very, very worrying because there's very little medical support for this condition.
И это вызывает большие беспокойства, поскольку сейчас не существует серьезной поддержки для больных.
But we've had some extraordinary results. Yes, I'm just going to come on to the good bits. That's the bad news. The really wonderful news is that we've got some very exciting proof, and the success of working with these formulas in helping people to have babies is very rewarding indeed.
Но хорошие новости в том, что мы увидели результаты успешной работы фитобиофизики.
Obviously, parents who long to have a child, is very, very lovely to be able to help them.
Ну и, конечно же, родители, которые долгое время мечтали о детях, очень счастливы, что есть такой выход.
There's another aspect to endometriosis and simian virus 5 which is concerning, and that's, of course, the problem with mental health. But I am going to just show you something rather important here. This is working with the BioWell. These were 30 different patients who were all diagnosed with endometriosis, who are now under treatment with Phytobiophysics. And this is the comparative energy field taken, and you can see a very, very distinct pattern. And I think this is very important in terms of research. The pattern, which is very, very obvious. Oh, I'm sorry, that shifted. Which is actually... How do I put this on again? I'm trying to do the red thing. The laser. Sorry. That one. Well, I just want to show you here, this is very, very specific. These are 30 totally different patients, all from different energy, different countries, different ages. And you can see a very, very, very distinct pattern. That's the jaw, the locked jaw, the endometrial imbalances, and the sacrum and lower back. So it's actually very specific indeed, and this is how we use this formula, which is very clear as a support for this condition.
Вы видите в данном случае наши исследования. 30 пациентов, которые проходили лечение с фитобиофизикой, и вы видите, что результаты у всех у них, несмотря на то, что они совершенно разные, из разных стран, очень сходятся.
And this is a particularly valuable formula because it deals with the teeth and the mouth, the bones, the digestive tract, the reproductive organs, and the lower mesenteric plexus, which are all areas of distortion as a result of this condition.
Эта формула очень важна, поскольку она влияет и на зубы, и на кости, и на все то, на всю ту симптоматику, которая есть в эндометриозе.
This is just a simple explanation of someone who was treated taken with the biowell before being treated and then immediately afterwards.
Это простое объяснение. Пациент, который прошел исследование BioWell до формулы и после.
This is an important picture because it's a little child who is in actual fact suffering with the diagnosis of simian virus 5. She's not pubescent yet, she's only 11, she hasn't started her periods, but you can see that she's very structurally misaligned, seriously structurally. So if we can help her before she starts her periods, this is obviously what we're aiming to do.
Это фотография ребенка, ей 11 лет, она еще не дошла до подросткового возраста, и у нее СВ5 вирус.
And in a way, when lying on the bed, you can see the same pattern that's demonstrated by the biowell tests, and you can see the distortion of her spine. And
Вы видите,
sorry, it's defaulted. I don't know why it's done that.
Вы видите нарушение в позвоночнике, то, что она не асимметрия в костных тканях.
Then this was interesting because this was after administration of the HARP-5, and 1 week after treatment on HARP-5, she was given a structural rebalancing treatment. And you can see that the alignment is very, very much better. You can see the proof is in her spine. Just in 1 week, which was very, very rewarding indeed, because this is a child who was going to have her back broken in order to be put back in, set back in a brace. That was the medical concept.
Вы видите результаты после применения формулы всего неделю, позвоночник исправился.
I'm afraid that that's actually gone a little bit weird. I don't know quite why it's done that, but this is a classic pattern of endometriosis before and after taking the formula.
Это классическая картина эндометриоза до и после применения формулы.
I think this is useful to see. This is a one person having had 8 tests over a period of 8 months. And it's rather interesting because you can see the pattern of endometriosis.
Это пациентка, у которой брали тест, делали тест в течение 8 месяцев, 8 раз. Вы видите...
Sorry about that. Oh, if I do that?
No, if you yourself, if you move towards the screen, closer to the screen, the noise.
Oh, I see. It's coming from me.
Forward, because your microphone is under the speaker and the speak back.
Sorry about that. So I just want to show you that where it's thickened, this is where the treatment has been taken place, and you can see the evidence. Now, the particularly valuable of this is that our patients can see the changes as well.
Вы видите уплотнение на картине, это место влияния препарата, но и наши пациенты сами видят результаты.
And this is an interesting picture as well because it's a man who doesn't suffer with endometriosis, but you can see he's been treated over a period of 2 years.
Это пациент, мужчина, он не страдает эндометриозом, но его лечили в течение 2 лет.
But he does carry the tetanus taint, and you can see that the worst problem is centered around the jaw and the teeth.
Его диагноз это столбняк, и вы видите, что основная часть концентрации это челюсть.
And indeed, he has very serious teeth problems.
И у него были серьезные проблемы с зубами тоже.
I don't know why that's defaulted as well, but just very quickly, we use our different formulas to support the tetanus, and I think we're sort of running out of time now, but I just would like to demonstrate how valuable it is to work with the BioWell program with our formulas because they're based on very similar principles. So that's really all I have time for.
Я хотела подчеркнуть важность использования BioWell совместно с нашими формулами.
I think one of the most exciting aspects of working with the BioWell is with our patients who we've been working with for many years and what they're actually able to demonstrate. Oh, I'm sorry. Here. Stay right here. Okay, I'll stay right here. I'd like to thank you very much indeed for listening to this very brief talk. I think after understanding that we can show that these formulas have an effect, not just a placebo effect, but the real proof, of course, is being able to demonstrate with our patients that they will make a full recovery, and that's exactly what we're very excited about.
Я очень благодарна за ваше внимание сегодня и хочу подчеркнуть, что очень важно использовать BioWell, поскольку он предоставляет достоверные данные того, что наше лекарство это не просто плацебо, а это действительно действующий препарат. Спасибо.